So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Hopping right on into today's content. Today we're going to be ranking and grading some of the many guitar brands that I like to cover on this channel, and I'm going to be ranking and grading their product line and their overall performance, I guess, for 2022. There's two categories I'm going to be looking at in terms of how I'm going to be grading many of these guitar brands, okay? First one is their product line. Did they come out with any new guitars, any new finishes, anything new in general, right? And two, did they do anything with their artists, i.e. a new signature guitar or anything like that? Or did they get a new artist along the way in 2022? So now, orientating you to my tier list right here, we have 3 grades to give out, an A, a B, and a C. I'm not going to give any sort of Fs or anything like that because I think it's incredibly corny to bash anybody on the internet for views. I think that's incredibly lame. I know a lot of people do that, but I'm not one that does that. And also too, my grades are going to have a bit of a curve to them. For example, like Balaguer guitars is not going to be graded the same way that like Gibson or Fender would be graded because, you know, it's just a matter of just resources and things like that. So I'm kind of just, you know, being realistic with all the brands, you know what I mean? Like, smaller brands can't compete with bigger brands, and I'm well aware of that, and I'm not going to be grading that solely, you know, based on like how big a brand is, you know what I mean? And last but not least, if you're brand new to my channel or you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know why you haven't, man. Be cool, help a guy out, subscribe to this channel. This channel's dope, man. And with that being said, let's start ranking, okay? So let's go with Epiphone first. I'm gonna put Epiphone, I'm gonna give him an A, dude. Epiphone and their big parent company Gibson have been killing it lately. We'll get to Gibson later, but for right now, sticking with Epiphone, looking at my notes here, I mean, we got the matte Heafy signature Les Pauls that finally came out this year in 2022. The white one and the black one both look equally as awesome and as classy. With the Fishmans, it just it just looks so classy, man. So, you know, congrats to Matt and Epiphone on that front. We also got the Jerry Cantrell Wino and Prophecy guitars here in 2022. I love Alice in Chains, my favorite grunge band of all time. I think they're the heaviest and the best for sure. We also even got a signature Tony Iommi Epiphone SG out there. And we've also got 2 guitars that have been teased and talked about. They're not officially out at the time of this filming, that is November 27th. But we're pretty much, you know, well aware that these 2 are coming out. And that is, in fact, an Adam Jones Epiphone Les Paul. And, most recently, a Dave Mustaine Epiphone Flying V. Thank you to Cesar. So yeah, dude, I'm gonna give him an A. Epiphone killed it this year in 2022. Up next, let's go with Kiesel. I'm gonna give Kiesel a C. Kiesel really didn't do too much this year, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, C's get degrees, as they say, right? A C isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think Kiesel just kind of just coasted and just cruised this year, and that's fine, man. They had some pretty breaking news in the beginning of 2022, and that is they released a 9-string guitar. However, in my opinion, my own humble, honest opinion, I think 9 strings are kind of like very 2013. I don't know too many 9-string players here in 2022. That's just one man's opinion. But they also put out a McRockland signature guitar as well as a Scott Carstairs, I believe that's how you say his name, from the band Fallujah, I believe. So apart from that, man, those are all kind of released in the very beginning of this year. And to the best of my knowledge, forgive me if I'm missing anything from Kiesel, but they really didn't put too much else out this year. Like I said, they kind of just cruised and just coasted and just did what they do. I mean, Kiesel makes amazing custom shop guitars, and they're beautiful instruments. But with that being said, they really didn't do anything, you know, too new, at least in my opinion, here in 2022. Love Kiesel, love the guitars, but, you know, it's one man's opinion, right? Let's go with Jackson up next. I'm going to give Jackson a solid B. I would give him a B+ if I had to, you know, be specific, man. Let's call it how it is. The flagship of Jackson's line this year was the Jackson American Series Soloist, but they also put out some notable signature guitars like a Jeff Loomis Soloist and a Josh from Northlane Solos, which is amazing looking with like the Evertune and the Seafoam. It looks beautiful, man. But really, I just think what got everybody buzzing was, in fact, the American Series Soloist. For better or for worse, I think it's a good thing. I love Jackson guitars, and you know, where I saw their products and their prices going up and up and up over the past, say, 5 years, it's cool that we're having American Soloists for an affordable price, kind of like a little bit more back down to earth, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna give them a B. Up next, let's go with Balaguer guitars. I love Balaguer guitars. I love Joe and the team, right? I'm gonna give them an A this year. And the reason being is because of the USA series. I think that was so rad that they finally were able to get that off the ground and up and running. I love, you know, the USA guitars that Joe makes. I think they're absolutely amazing. I love the one with the purple sparkle specifically. I think it looks so rad, but there's also some old school vibes, some relic vibes in there as well. And that's kind of like the forte of Balaguer guitars, vintage appointments with modern flair. You guys know me, I've said that a million times on this channel. I love that so much about guitars in general. So the USA series was really awesome to see from Balaguer guitars. Not to mention, we just got some Black Friday Select Series guitars, which they always seem to do every single Black Friday. I mean, last year they put out some black baritones. This year they put out 3 new models, which I'll be sure to cover in a future video. I think if you guys want to see me check them out, but that's super rad. But they also came out with 2 new models as well for the Select Custom Series, where you can customize and build your own guitars. That is the Druid and the Grace, the beautiful semi-hollow guitar. So yeah, man, Balaguer did a lot of cool things this year. Let's go with Schecter. I'm gonna give Schecter a C this year. Very average year for Schecter. And you know, like I said in the beginning of this video, the whole curve thing, in comparison to years past, Schecter was really a giant heavy hitter in the rock and metal community, especially like, let's say, like, I don't know, like 2018, 2019, 2020, like they were really crushing it with new models and new finishes and a whole bunch of stuff, right? Here in 2022, they really kind of had a slow year. I mean, they had the Aaron Marshall signature guitar. They had 3 Rob Scallon guitars, which, you know, congrats to Rob, that's super rad, dude. But, you know, it's still, in my opinion, one guitar, you know, nonetheless, because it's just, you know, one guitar with 3 different string configurations, you know, string options, whatever you want to call it. We also got 2 more Jack Fowler signature guitars. We got a hardtail and one with a trem. And then we got 2 new single cuts. We got the SLS Elite Evil Twin. I love the Evil Twin line, you guys know that. And we also got the Supreme as well. So, not a bad year at all for Schecter. I mean, what I just named off is a pretty lot of guitars, right? But those are the ones, in my opinion, that really stuck out the most to me. But regardless, like I said, in comparison to what Schecter is capable of doing and has done in years past, I think it's a bit of a step down, so therefore I'm just going to give him a C. Average year for Schecter. Arguably one of the most disappointing years, according to my comment section, is, in fact, Ibanez. Ibanez really had a small, limited run this year in 2022. I'm going to give them a C as well. The 2 guitars that really stood out to me was that one RG with like the DiMarzios and like the crazy kind of wood looking top, as well as the AZ that looks like an old school Strat. But apart from that, nothing really that stood out. And you know, I'm not necessarily the biggest Ibanez fan. I love their guitars and they look cool, but you know, I've just never really been experienced with them. You guys know what I like to play, right? Ibanez just hasn't really been on my radar yet, maybe one day, right? But for the time being here in 2022, a very limited small run of guitars. And again, similar to like Schecter and stuff like that, it's crazy how a company as massive as Ibanez really didn't do all that much here in 2022. Maybe they're saving up for 2023 and going forward, you know, that remains to be seen. But 2022, definitely a very average year, we'll say, for Ibanez. Let's go with a heavy hitter. Let's go with the Music Man. Music Man, I'm gonna give him a B. I mean, Music Man's always putting out amazing stuff, right? Like they always have they're always like pushing the envelope in terms of futuristic guitars and stuff like that. I'm gonna give him a B. I mean, the main one that they came out with was the Kiesel with Tosin Abasi. That thing broke the internet when that first came out. But they've also did some other cool things too, like the heat-treated pickups. I know Fluff did a lot of stuff and a lot of content talking about them as well. And they also came out with a lot of different new finishes that I really dug. In particular, the Stingrays. They came out with what I believe is called the Brolee, B-R-O-L-E-E finish, which looks like Antigua, and I love Antigua. I love 70s Strats. That looks so cool. They also came out with like a metallic 3-tone sunburst Stingray as well as like a purple burst Stingray. So all that encompassing, I think Ernie Ball Music Man always comes out with amazing stuff. Not to mention they always, you know, cater to the Majesties and the JPs. You know, every single year John Petrucci gets a bevy of guitars. So if you're an Ernie Ball Music Man fan, you know, I think they take care of you every single year, and 2022 was no exception. So I'm gonna give them a B. Let's go with ESP. I'm gonna give ESP a B. Now, they came out with the Phase 1 line in like January of this year, but that was it. What happened to Phase 2 and 3? Like, hey everyone, me from the future editing right now. I just want to let you guys know that I did do a little bit of research and I found that Phase 2 actually happened in July, but the best of my knowledge and to the best of my researching abilities, it really was only like bass guitars. Hence, that's probably why I missed Phase 2, because I'm not a bass player. So, I just want to put that out there. Yeah, it seems like Phase 1 was all about guitars. Alright, and we're back. But regardless, the Phase 1 line is awesome, man. I mean, that's like my favorite thing to look forward to every single year is ESP's product line, because they have like pages and pages of guitars. That being said, The ones that stood out to me was like the vintage Randy Rhoads looking one, and as well as like a couple baritones out there. But regardless, man, nothing really that stood out to me exponentially other than that one Randy Rhoads looking single cut. But yeah, ESP always does an amazing job, but it's just interesting because like what happened to Phase 2? I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know what happened. But anyway, put ESP at a solid B. Solar Guitars, boom, all the way up in A. I think Solar Guitars is taking off, man. Like seriously, there's no bias here at all. I just think they're just like doing something way unique compared to the rest of the guitar brands out there. They put out a guitar and or bass literally every single week. That's like unbelievable. That's insane how they just continue to crank them out. They just did a crazy Black Sabbath / Black Friday sale that had like legitimately great deals. Like it wasn't like you know, $10 off or something like that. Like as of today, at today's filming, there's a silver Type A guitar for literally like half off right now for today only. That sale's still going on. They're doing really great stuff this year. New models. Still waiting on that X guitar, but they got new signature guitars coming out almost every single month at least. They got the Chug pedal that came out. Solar Guitars is still only, you know, 5 years old. They're still really, really young, and they're just taking off and growing exponentially. And I'm here for it. You know, I just want to see them continue to succeed. So I'm really stoked for Solar Guitars. I'm really stoked for Ola this year. They get an A. Let's go with Squier. I'm going to give Squier a C. I don't know. They really didn't do anything all that cool this year. They had the contemporary Starcaster with the active pickups as well as the Jazzmaster. And then they also had the 40th anniversary Squiers, Stratocasters with the block inlays. Those were kind of cool. I don't know. Squier just didn't really do anything too crazy this year. I've seen them do some cooler stuff in years past. But apart from that Starcaster, that's really the only thing that really caught my eye. But the Starcaster is kind of a weird looking shape anyway. It's kind of interesting. It's hit or miss. Some people love it, some people hate it, especially with the headstock. People are very opinionated with the headstock. Squier for me really didn't do anything that crazy. I'm going to put him in C category. Let's go with Charvel. I'm going to give Charvel, boom, an A. Charvel did a great job with the Jim Root signature guitars. We got the two signature guitars, the black one and the white one. We got the Phil Scrosso that just came out, the Silver Burst one. They always have a bevy of Super Strats out there. I love the Cherry Burst looking one, as well as some of like the metallic silver one. That's kind of crazy looking, but I think it's kind of cool. They also have that signature guitar artist with the purple one and the EMGs. That looks beautiful. Yeah, Charvel did a great job this year. One of my favorite years from Charvel in recent years. Yeah, great year for them. Dean Guitars. Dean Guitars. I'm gonna have to give them a C for this year. And I think it's pretty obvious just because they're under a major rebranding this year in 2022. Don't need to go into detail on anything like that. Just they're taking a back seat this year. I spoke to somebody at the company, and yeah, they're doing a rebrand this year for the winter and getting ready for 2023. So with that being said, you know, it's obvious that they had a very small, limited run of guitars this year. I think they only put out like 6 or 7 electric guitars this year, which in comparison to years past is really, really small. Like the 2020 line specifically was insane. Now here in 2022, they put out a small number run of guitars, getting ready for 2023 with the rebrand. So it's to be expected. Put them in the C category right now, but I'm really excited and really hopeful for what they're going to have here in the years coming up. 2 to go. Let's go with BC Rich. I'm going to put BC Rich in C as well. BC Rich started out hot and heavy when they first kind of came back, like, I don't know, like what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And now it seems like they're kind of doing like what some other brands are doing, just kind of coasting for right now. That's to be expected, you know, with what's been going on in the world and everything like that. No, nothing too crazy. But I will give credit where credit's due. They did put out two beautiful Ironbirds, as well as, if you're a Stranger Things fan, they put out the Eddie BC Rich Warlock. So that guitar alone, I think, you know, made BC Rich very profitable and very successful in 2022. That being said, I'm not the biggest Stranger Things fan. It's a solid show. I watched it. You know, it was pretty rad. And that Eddie scene is iconic, right? But, you know, one guitar isn't really necessarily going to make me, you know, love the brand that much. Yeah, so with that being said, just a couple guitars this year, but, you know, the ones that they did come out with, like that orange Ironbird and the Warlock from Eddie, those are cool guitars, man. So, but regardless, not too many guitars, at least to the best of my knowledge here in 2022. I'm just going to give them C, average year. And last but not least, the mighty Gibson. I'm going to give Gibson an A. Yes, oh my God, the millennial gave Gibson an A, you know. I've heard change your tuning, man. I've heard that comment many times. Look, dude, Gibson really has done something cool over the last couple of years, and they're catering towards the hard rock and metal players. I mean, they're giving Dave Mustaine literally seems like every single guitar. There's like rumors of Explorers, V's, Les Pauls, etc. Adam Jones' signature Les Paul Standard came out this year. The Murphy Lab, Kirk Hammett came out this year. Nobody can afford that, but it's still cool all the same. I just think Gibson is really starting to pay attention to their players and not just focusing solely on the blues and dad rock players. Oh yeah, they also came back with the faded finishes as well with the Les Pauls, the Cherry Burst and the Honey Burst. Those are cool, man. Say what you want about the brand. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. I think Gibson did a great year did great here in 2022. I think it was a great year for them, and I'm really excited to see where they're going to take the brand in 2023. So everybody, those are some and/or most of the brands that I like to pay attention to here on this channel. What do you guys think of my opinions? What do you guys think of my grades for the year? Leave your thoughts down below. I'd love to talk all things guitar with you down below in the comments, okay? Is there something I missed with the brand that you think deserves to be included in my opinions? Leave your thoughts down below. And again, man, if you're brand new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. This channel's dope, all right? With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.